Hello vlog, welcome back. It's another semester full of the best vlogs all around. So I'm going to be talking about the case study that we looked at this week and kind of looking at the legality behind it and the different things that go along with that, as well as talking about my placement and the interaction that I've had with seeing special education work in that. So I'm excited to do that. So first, for the case study, I thought it was really interesting to hear about an actual student going through an IEP process and the different barriers and challenges that they faced as a student, and then also as a student in a school district. And I was very surprised to see the way that the school district and the administration and the people involved in the plan were reacting to it. The one thing that we've talked about so much is how the first thing that you do when you're getting tested is taking a vision and a hearing test, which makes so much sense because so much of that goes into you being able to process information, and not even the actual your brain being able to process it, but literally being able to see things, being able to actually hear things. That could be hiding a disability so easily and you would never know because of this very simple thing. Another thing I was thinking about is how the school was responding, and how for one of the IEPs they said that he should not get retested, or she should not get retested, because it may make the student less likely to qualify for all of the accommodations that they needed. However, I think that's something that's really important to think about, because I understand not taking away an IEP. However, I think it's so important to reevaluate every single year, and not just let that be something that just goes kind of in the wind, because IEPs and accommodations and barriers and challenges change literally from day to day, especially from year to year. And so I think that's something that's really important to take into account, and recognize that we can't just always say oh, let's just keep it going so that they get the accommodations. I think another thing that was interesting is I was talking about in class, but I had a student who was he was an assistant camp counselor, and so he was on the spectrum, and he was doing so great during summer camp, and he was headed into his first year of high school, and he was so nervous for it, and just very overwhelmed. But we were super excited for him, and some of the skills that he had been working on in my group was something that he was going to be able to bring into high school. And so everyone went through thinking oh, he's going to do great, he's done great in summer camp, and you just never know how big those transitions can be for students. And so I was thinking about the transition between elementary to middle, or middle to high. Those are such insane transitions in a student's life, and not having an accommodation when you might need it is so terrifying. I would be terrified as a parent to be going through that huge change and not think that my student was going to have an accommodation. We talked about how that might be a reason that students don't go through the renewal process even when they should, and it's to keep those transitions sacred almost, and keep them safe. However, as an educator, it's so hard to decide where to draw the line, and where to say you really need to continue with this accommodation and you need to just keep it as it is because you don't want to lose it, as well as saying oh, maybe you have grown out of an accommodation, but recognizing new challenges and barriers always come up. And I understand the need to make it so such a process to get these accommodations, because we don't want just every single student to be able to get that because their parent vouches for it or wants that. But as a teacher, that's one thing that I just right now I'm very confused on how to know when to draw the line. And obviously you'll probably have a lot of help from your administration and other people in the IEP team. However, if I was the main educator for a student, I just feel that would be a really difficult decision to make because it like can so greatly impact a life, and that could be another like 6 months without an IEP in place if like you ended up needing it again. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was my classroom that I'm in. So right now I'm placed at Alexander Wilson in a first grade classroom, and my teacher is in her 7th year of teaching, so she's still new, but like she's doing great. So I actually have a student who is on the spectrum in my classroom, and he is so awesome. I've loved getting to know him so far. We spent a lot of the daily 5 time reading to each other, and it was really interesting to see because every single one of the other students was going through the different stations and like participating with other students. However, the teacher was just kind of letting him do whatever he want, and I was there to kind of be like, hey, like let's not just look at the pictures, let's try to sound these words out, and like kind of there to help him. And it was just very interesting to see his interaction with the class and like seeing how he fits in with like the social environment and with the academic environment. One thing that I thought was really cool is they're doing morning announcements for this coming week, and they had to record them this past Friday. And rather than just like making him not have a part in it because like it would be easier to just like put him to the side, she made sure that he knew when his part was. She knew what he knew what he was saying, and it was almost the same thing every single time. So it was something that was like a routine that he could like gain understanding for a little bit quicker, and like the routine felt better like for him. But it was a cool way to see a student like be embraced in the classroom rather than like kind of separated and like segregated from the classroom. And like all of his peers were like so excited when he was doing his part because like they were like, oh yes, Evan, go, you can do it. And so I think that was a really cool thing for me to see in the classroom. I have really loved getting to know this student, and he's already so awesome, and like we've already like created such a bond, just the two of us. However, I feel like I've even heard from like some of my other friends who are in that school that like their placement teacher, their CT is not really as accommodating to students with autism, and they're kind of just like they do their own thing in the corner by themselves. And like that's where like I'm excited to be able to get to use like UDL this semester, and hopefully like make a lesson that is going to be just as engaging for him and just as accessible for him as it is for every other student in the classroom, because he is so smart and he knows how to do everything. I think sometimes like the teacher just gets a little overwhelmed because like he'll stand up and start stemming, or like he'll like walk around the classroom and like has a hard time like staying still. But I'm excited to like hopefully be able to use like movement in my lesson plans and also make it to where he feels like he can be a part of the lesson in a way that's fun and engaging and like beneficial for his own learning. So I'm really excited for that. Anyway, thank you for watching this week's vlog. I will see you on Tuesday.